please, I'd like to welcome Marcy Whitman, Rabbi Whitman's better half, if there is such a thing. They're both wonderful halves of a wonderful whole. So please, Marcy, if you'll step up.
Thank you, Bonnie. So I have been friends with Nina since we moved to Montreal 22 years ago. Nina and I support and help each other through the ups and downs of life, and there are many of those. Everyone should be so lucky to have a friend like Nina. Nina and her husband, Rabbi Mordechai Glick, Zichrono Livracha, moved to Montreal in 1970. Their daughter, Nama, who is a longtime and beloved resident of Maison Shalom, was 5 months old. At the age of 9 months, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Tonight, Nina will tell you about her family's personal journey and her journey in the special needs community. We will hear how my amazing friend became one of the founders of Maison Shalom. Nina, thank you so much for sharing your story with us tonight.
Well, I want everyone to know how lucky they are, which was not planned in my speech, by the way, how lucky they are to have the Whitmans as leaders of their community. Because I can tell you that there are not many synagogues are reaching out to the special needs community to this day. So from the time that I met them, they were interested in doing what they could in order to bring special needs into their community. Continuing on, interestingly, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Jewish Awareness and Disability Inclusion Month began only 15 years ago. So in the year 2009. So we could ask ourselves what happened prior to that and what the strides have been made since that really happened. I'm going to start, I guess the easiest for me to do is to begin with our story, the Glick story. And our involvement in the special needs community. Obviously, most of you will agree that if someone in the family has Alzheimer's, the family will reach out to an Alzheimer's support group in most cases to help them, to support them, to do different things with them. Same with breast cancer, same with many different things. And so this is how our journey began with the special needs community. When we moved to Montreal, we were very old, the two of us. We were like 26, and our daughter Nama was 9 months, was actually 5 months old, as Marcy said. We started to notice that she was not holding up her head properly. And I went to our pediatrician here, and I mentioned to him, because I had 2 other children to compare her to, and he said, there's nothing wrong with her. I said, look, I don't want a genius. I just want a healthy child. And it was only several months later that I insisted that there was something wrong with this child, as I said, because I was comparing her with our other children. And it was at that time, after much back and forth, whatever, that it was said that she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Neither one of us had a clue what that really entailed, what that really meant, because I went to this neurologist just expecting that he's going to give me amoxicillin, which is what we gave to every baby. And he'll say, give it to her for 10 days and she'll be better. It didn't even enter my mind that there was something so significantly wrong with her. And I remember that day, and he actually suggested to us that we not keep her, that we institutionalize her immediately. And we looked at each other, 2 very young parents, and we went home and we went into our car and we cried. We cried. One of the beauties of our marriage is that we were never afraid to cry in front of each other. Although once Nama was diagnosed, we made a deal that if one of us needed to cry looking at her in her crib, we could only do it when the other one wasn't crying. So one would be there to support the other one. And we thought about it, and that very Sunday, actually, there was a B'nai B'rith breakfast in our shul in Bel, the Young Israel of Bel Royal. Many people knew that we had taken Nama to the doctor. No one anticipated what was wrong with her. And people said to me, what happened? What happened? And I would say, it's really awful, it's tragic, it's this, it's that. She's been diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which means brain damage, that your muscles are very tight and spastic, that they don't know what causes it. It could either be at birth, during birth, or after birth. And it could be significant in that the person can be extremely, extremely handicapped, or it could just affect one arm, one leg, one whatever. And in our case, we were so lucky because it affected just about everything. It affected Nama's entire right side and the ability to speak clearly. So we thought about this for a long time, and we heard many comments from people, which I always say I'm going to write a book one day and mark down some of their comments, which was, of course, it happened to you, Nina, because you're the rabbi's wife, and therefore you knew it, you deserve this because you have so much faith. You can definitely get through this very easily. And then, unfortunately, there was a really bright comment of someone who said to me, and I hesitate to say this, but she said, you know, Nina, I know exactly what you're going with because my brother is going out with a non-Jew. And the two of us went home and we just were able to laugh about the stupidity of things that people said to us. And thank God we were on the same wavelength that we could laugh about these things. And so we decided at that moment that we were going to make Nama a part of our family forever, that we were going to gain from having her as a member of our family, that we were going to love her and include her in just about everything that we possibly could with our other children. And I feel confident and proud of the fact that we were able to do that. It wasn't easy. It's not easy to do these kinds of things, but we felt it was very, very important. We schlepped with her to apple picking in Montreal in the fall and put her wheelchair on a tractor. My Mordechai took her, zip lining. I mean, crazy kinds of things we did with her. You have to appreciate how handicapped she is. I mean, you saw her, but she was once a young child, but it was not so easy to do that. We took her tobogganing. Every place that we went with the kids, we took her, and we were proud of the fact that we took her. And we saw how she sensitized people to what a person with special needs really is because of the fact that we took her everywhere. So, for instance, in our shul, there were many Holocaust survivors in our shul at the time. Lovely, lovely, wonderful people. And they'd really never been exposed to a special needs person before, and certainly not a child. And you saw how some of these people were afraid. They were really afraid of coming close to her. But because Nama was very friendly and outgoing, and she'd always go hi and whatever, they learned to accept her. And I always say that one of the greatest things that Nama ever did in her life was to sensitize people that a person with special needs is just like everyone else. They look different in some cases. They are not able to speak well in some cases. In some cases they are. Some walk, some don't walk, some drool, but they're human beings and they deserve to be accepted as everyone else. So we walked together as a family very proudly. I will never forget the day that one of my daughters came home from school when she was 9 years old and told me that she was never going to, one of the girls in her class told her that she was never going to get married. And I asked her, why would someone say something like that to you, Malki? Like, what would be the reason that someone would say like that, something like that? And she said, Mommy, she said it because she told me because Nama's my sister. No one will ever want to marry me. And I looked at her and I said, so what did you say? She said, you know what, Mommy, I told her that anyone who doesn't want to marry me because of Nama is not worth marrying anyway. And I was so proud of this 9-year-old child who had enough strength and confidence to be able to answer that way. It was just a warm, wonderful feeling. And as an aside, when my future son-in-law, which is a crazy story, but when he came to Montreal quite unexpectedly and went out with Malki, it was totally unexpected. It was, someone called me on a Friday. We were not into shidduchim. We were not looking for people. Malki was 18, 19. We weren't even thinking about it. And someone called me and said, Nina, I met the perfect boy for Malki. and because he knew our family. His daughter also went to school with Malki. Malki was perfect for this boy. And he was a med student at Einstein and whatever. So I asked Malki, you want to go out with this boy? I mean, we had never experienced having a daughter go on a date. And my little kids thought it was the most hysterical thing. They couldn't stop laughing. And so she did go out with this boy on a Saturday night. And he walked into my house. And he walked over to Nama. She was sitting at the piano. We had a baby grand piano in our living room. And she walked over to the piano. He walked over to the piano. He was wearing a black hat. Just picture this, okay? And he walks over, and the first thing he does is puts his arm around Nama and says, "Hi, what's your name?" And I said to myself, marry him, okay? Because I was so excited about the fact that here so many years before, not so many years before, someone so silly had said this to Malki, and obviously this was never something that we have to really worry about. And so we continued on our path with many challenges. Nama had different kinds of surgeries when she was younger, orthopedic surgery, things like that. And we continued, but in the back of our minds, we knew that one day she deserved to be with people just like herself. Just like one day as her sisters and her brother got older and they moved and they went on with their friends and they went on to different lives and they went to school or wherever they went, that one day we would have to figure out a plan that Nama would be like that she was never, ever going to be the responsibility of her siblings. There was no way in our mind that they had to go up worrying about who's going to take care of Nama. And I remember my son Akiva, one day when he was maybe 6 or 7, asking me, "Mommy, who's going to take care of Nama?" And I said, "Akiva, you never have to worry about that because Mommy and Tati are going to take care of that. And we will assure you that no matter what it takes, that's what will happen." And so what did we do? We continued. In our minds, we felt that 15 years old was the time when we would start looking into possibilities for Nama. Not until she's 15, because she deserved to be with us. And I was prepared for her to move out of our house when she was 15. But I knew that one day this was a plan that we had to have. And lo and behold, at the time, I was the chairman of the Special Needs Committee at Federation. There was such a committee. Just to give you an aside of what the committee did, we started looking into accessibility in shuls, in schools, in the YMHA, the Snowden Y. And I, together with the person who at the time was in charge of the Y, I made an appointment with the Federation person and myself to go to see the man in charge of the Y at the time, to speak to him about how the Y, this big building in the middle of Snowden that the whole community used, how we could try to make this building accessible so that people with special needs would be able to go to it. And we went to meet with him, and I'll never forget. We sat in his office, and he said to us, "There are no handicapped Jewish people in Montreal." That was his exact answer to us. There are no handicapped Jewish people in Montreal. Now, we're talking about an intelligent man who had a very good job, a very managerial and whatever, and that was his response. So I answered him by saying, forget children with special needs. Forget people who are physically disabled. What about someone who has a heart condition? What about, there was no way to get into the Y without walking up the stairs. There was no way to get into the pool with walking downstairs. There was no way to walk from the Sadie Bronfman into the other building without going on stairs. Not everyone is physically handicapped by having a physical disability. There are medical disabilities which disallow people from being able to walk as other people do. He was totally shocked and flawed. Time went by. And as you probably know, there is now a lift in the pool. There is a lift from the Sadie Bronfman into the main building. And I'm not even sure at this point what else there is, but many, many changes have been made, including having a program together with special needs kids at the Y. I really don't know if it still exists, but I know that at that time, after many years of prodding, there was an inclusive program at the Y, which just shows you how, without even asking these things and without even telling people about these things, they never, if you don't have this problem, most people don't think about it. And one of my requests of anyone watching this is to remember that it should not only be the responsibility of those of us who have a special needs person in our family to go ahead and to advocate on their behalf. Hopefully what we can do is we can teach other people that this needs to be a communal responsibility. Part of the problem with having someone handicapped in the family, we found, was people were afraid of her. So we would walk down the street, walk up Cavendish Boulevard, and women would literally pull their children away because they were afraid they'd catch it. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to think. They would catch her disease, which is not exactly transferable. They would cross the street. And Nama in particular happens to be very friendly. So she's very busy hiing to everybody, not even noticing if they're walking away from her. But I beseech everybody that if you know someone with a special need, and it doesn't have to be a child, there are many Down syndrome people around. There are many people around with psychological illnesses. They are people. They're people just like we're people. And they deserve respect, just like we deserve respect. And one of the things I wish that there was a way to convince people of the need to be more receptacle to people who are special. I remember when Nama was very young, a very good friend, Sheva Strolovich, who taught grade 1 in the Hebrew Academy a million years ago, had Nama come to her class when Nama was probably, I'm guessing, 10, and she taught grade 1. As part of educating her students at that young age to learn that a person with a disability, as I'm saying, wants to be spoken to by other people. And I remember these little kids would come over to Nama. Now, Nama has on her tray what's called the bliss board, because she's not able to speak, although she does say certain sounds like mommy, where Malky, where this one, where that one, where baby. But the bottom line is that she has a bliss board. This man, Mr. Bliss, that was actually his name, from Australia, in a concentration camp prior to moving to Australia, made these symbols of communication for nonverbal people. And many of them were used for stroke victims. And they were adapted for children such as Nama, that they could point to these symbols, and unbelievably, I mean, really unbelievably, she was able to learn the symbols. Like they told us originally, she went to the Mackay School, and prior to that, Peter Hall School. And Peter Hall said they don't know if she's capable of learning the symbols. And overnight, she learned like 15 symbols. Because it's so hard to know what the capabilities are of a person like this, unless they have the ability to show you. So Nama has a board in front of her, and she communicates to us with her board. As you saw before, I just wanted you to see, I don't know if you noticed it, that I said, Nama, tell everybody what's going to be soon. And she right away pointed to her birthday, which in her life is a very, very, very major occasion. And we always try to do something very special because of it. So first of all, let me first get to Maison Shalom. Many years ago, as the chairman of the Committee and Federation, I was advised there was a group of women, obviously very, very special women, friends sitting on a park bench in Montreal with normal children, just thinking about what they could do because they understood there was a need for foster homes for Jewish children. And someone suggested that they speak to me as the chairman of this committee and as the mother of a special needs child. And so they did. They contacted me. I really want to mention the names of these women because it's to them, it's really to them that Maison Shalom is today what it is. So I just want you to know the names of the women who, one of them is not alive anymore, but it was Elaine Baer, Dina Semet, Malka Steiglitz, who passed away, Sue Miller, and Angie Bloom. If it wouldn't have been for those women, I don't know if there would be a Maison Shalom today. But upon meeting with them and speaking with them, I said that I think that there might be a greater need for a group home for Jewish children. In Maison Shalom's case, we wanted it to be a Jewish home for children who came from Shomer Shabbat families, that the priority of who moved into Maison Shalom should be for children who came in from Shomer Shabbat families and completely kosher homes, so that Shabbos could be upheld the way we wanted it to be. We never considered placing Nama anywhere where her Yiddishkeit, her Jewishness was going to be compromised. To us, that had been a very major part of her entire growing up, and we wanted to maintain that for her. And so we had long talks, many talks, and we decided together, and then with the involvement of many other people, that we were going to try to build this dream. And we came upon the name thanks to the government of Quebec because we had to have a French name. So we decided on the name Maison Shalom. And I went all over Montreal, everywhere there was a Jew, speaking my heart out about the need for such a home and what it would mean for us to have such a home in the community. And interestingly, there were social workers. There were parents whose children were living in group homes that were not Jewish. And one example were parents whose two daughters grew up in a home outside of Montreal. And these two girls, from the time they were born, from living in the hospital, were never brought home. And as a result, they were in a group home in Saint Hubert. Notice, even though I live in New Jersey, I said Saint Hubert and not Saint Hubert. Okay? So they lived in Saint Hubert, and the foster parents in this home, who were getting older, had, I think, 5 or 6 children, and they were no longer able to accommodate these children because they were too old. So these mothers were told by a social worker to come to hear Nina Glick speak, and there's this meeting and see what you think and whatever, and so they did. And I went everywhere. I went to Tash in St. Therese. I went to the Hasidic community in what's called downtown. I went to Westmount. I went to Saint Laurent. I went Dollard. I went everywhere, pouring my heart out about how much we needed this to happen. And my Mordechai used to say to me, my husband used to say to me, what are you going to do if they don't accept Nama? Because we decided there had to be an independent admittance committee. And eventually our home, even though the money was originally privately funded, was given over to Miriam Home, to the organization Miriam Home, so that they could take care of the governmental involvement that needed to be done when you open a group home. And there had to be an independent source of admission. And he used to say to me, what are you going to do after all this? You're driving yourself crazy. You're traveling everywhere. What are you going to do if we don't get Nama into Maison Shalom? And I said, we'll take that chance. But I knew that Nama was the eldest, because Nama moved into Maison Shalom on December 11, 2085. Is that correct? I believe that's correct. And she was 19, and that's 2083. I'm sorry, because she was going to be 20 in 2084. And that's how it happened. And eventually through this entire process of the most amazing, amazing people coming together, who in most cases did not have a special needs child, came together and involved many, many different aspects of the community. That's how it happened that Maison Shalom, one, because where there were two of them, was open. The day that Nama moved into Maison Shalom, I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to stay at home. And I told my husband, I want to go away for a few days, close enough that we're here if they need us, but I don't want to be home, because people said to me brilliantly, Nina, I can't believe you did that to Nama. So I decided that I needed to escape for a few days. So we moved into the Chateau Vaudreuil. I don't even know if it's still there. We moved into the Chateau Vaudreuil. No, not the Chateau, the Chateau, yeah, the Chateau Vaudreuil, in Vaudreuil. I was thinking the Chateau Versailles. We moved there and we stayed there for 3 nights. And in Maison Shalom, they had our phone number and they knew how to reach us. And Nama had gone to camp. She was the only one in camp when the parents drove away, all the kids were crying, except Nama would go. Oh, she couldn't wait to see us leave, you know? So when she moved into Maison Shalom, we didn't really have a problem. I think the problem would have been more in our minds than in her minds. And frequently, of course, she was at that time able to come home all the time, you know, for Shabbos if we wanted to, for Yontif if we wanted to, but also if we didn't want to. And believe me, to this day, I have to pinch myself in actually thinking that it's Shabbos morning and I can drink a coffee by myself and do things like normal women do on Shabbos, because I always, as soon as my husband left for shul, it was not on me. And so I never had that luxury. Others may not consider it a luxury. For me, it was definitely a luxury. So that's the story of how Maison Shalom got started. I can tell you that there is some people working in Maison Shalom that have worked there since it began, since the very beginning, or came back to work in Maison Shalom. We have non-Jewish staff members that we have made showers when they got married. I'll always forget, I remember Sophie, I think it was Sophie's, one of our workers who's family, they're all family to me. But one of our workers, for her shower, we gave her these dishes and this and that, and she said, oh, do I have to bring this to the mikvah? Sophie, who is not Jewish, okay, wanted to know if she had to bring and we would give her kosher cookbooks. And they were our family, almost like our children were our family. We celebrated with them in their smachot. We celebrated with them their tragedies, and we celebrated the lives that we all have built together. And I give thanks every single day, every day. Our family has been through many challenges. Nama herself suffered from stage 4 breast cancer because she didn't have enough cerebral palsy. And we went through terrible times. And there was everyone from Maison Shalom rooting for us. Everyone. And every single thing that's happened over the years, I've never worried. I've never been concerned, because I knew the care that she was being given was probably better than I could give her in our own house. So if anyone from Maison Shalom hears this, I have to say that the most important thing that I can say to any person who's ever worked in Maison Shalom is that I'll never stop loving you, and I will never, ever feel I'm so indebted to everyone there. I can't even express to you how special it is. And one of the important features of Maison Shalom, when we were considering starting it, and when we were already knew that it was happening, and the first home was on Carlton, my husband got a phone call from someone, not knowing that we had a special needs daughter that was going to be living in this home, hopefully, and said he heard, Rabbi Glick, that you're involved in this home that they're creating. You know, there's no way it can be on Carlton because it will definitely spoil the neighborhood. It's going to cause tremendous amount of traffic congestion on the street. It's going to terribly deflate the real estate value of the homes on Carlton. And my husband asked him, well, where do you think that this home should be? And he said he thinks it should be in an industrial area where there are factories. And I'm talking about an intelligent person, well known in the community, okay? He thinks that it should be in an industrial area where there won't be as much traffic congestion. I still to this day can't figure out what congestion Maison Shalom causes. There were a few people at the time, one or two, who called us concerned that it would affect their property value. I have to tell you that, and this is not uncommon, by the way, because I recently heard in New Jersey where a group home was going to be opening shortly called the Bayit for special needs children, that a man who lives in the area where the Bayit was being established as well complained that it would spoil the neighborhood and the real estate values would go down. I have to say that Maison Shalom has done nothing but increase the value of people's homes in Carlton. Because what happened was that it became a hub of excitement for people. I remember when Chesky, one of the residents at Maison Shalom, I remember when Chesky, I hope you hear this, it was his birthday, and the boys at the Lubavitch Yeshiva, which is right around the corner from where Maison Shalom is, those boys literally made a parade from Lubavitch Yeshiva all the way down Westbury, down Carlton to Maison Shalom in the middle of the street to celebrate with music, with balloons, with everything, to celebrate Chesky's birthday. I remember when it became a hub on Shabbos of people coming to visit, of young girls coming to visit from different schools. And it's never in any which way deterred any type of action that people had assumed it would. So how do we move forward now? And what is really one of my greatest messages to you? It's that it's very lonely to be a special needs person. Number one, it's very, very lonely. And to this day, there is a tendency for most people to not look, to not get involved, to not reach out. And people need other people, even if they have a special need, even if they're ugly. Sometimes, Nama drools. It's not pretty to look at someone who drools. But I can't even tell you how the excitement she feels when someone comes over and speaks to her. It makes such a difference in the homes and in the lives of these children who are adults now, and the adults who are walking on the street who have many different kinds of disabilities. And we just walk by them and ignore them. And you'd be surprised, just stop, even if you don't know the person from a hole in the wall, just stopping and saying, hi, how are you? Have a nice day. It makes a tremendous, tremendous difference in their lives because most people do not do that. They almost feel that if they don't look, it's not going to affect them and it's going to go away. What can we do? We need to constantly support organizations with special needs. I'm not even talking financially. I'm talking letting them know that they are important resources in this community, that we're proud to have them in the community. We are proud. Last Sunday, a week ago, Maison Shalom had an afternoon at the Cavendish Mall in front of the movie theater, at the movie theater, inviting community to come and meet the kids from Maison Shalom, okay? Just to see how they're not so different and how happy you make them by going to be a part of it. I am sure that many people saw the invitation. I am sure that many people saw it and said, not for me. I'm also certain that the people who went came away feeling really, really good about themselves and good about the fact that they contributed to this vital, vital need. It doesn't matter where you see them. Nama's lucky because, first of all, she lived in Côte Saint-Luc. So, and also, the whole world seems to know Nama. I can't explain it, but the whole world seems to know her. Every place she goes, I hear somebody, oh, I saw Nama. Oh, I saw Nama. But the bottom line is that they live lonely lives, despite the best care, despite the amazing love that they receive. It just makes such a difference to take the time and invite someone like one of the residents of Maison Shalom, or not, or someone else that you know who's special in a different way, to have coffee, to go for lunch, to come to your house to watch a movie, to come over for a Shabbos meal. There are so many people that would benefit from anyone doing something like that. So many people. I can't believe that there's anyone watching this that doesn't know at least one person that they hesitate to get involved with, that they hesitate to speak to, because it's hard. And I know it's hard. But I just think it's really, really vital that we all reach out. You know, in Israel, there's an organization called Shalva. It's an amazing, amazing organization. It was started by actually someone who was originally from Vancouver. His name is Samuels. And he and his wife made Aliyah many thousands of years ago, and they have a son who has special needs. And they started very small, in a very small way. And they started in their apartment, having people with special needs over. And then the organization grew and grew and grew. And in Yerushalayim, there is an unbelievable facility called the Shalva Building. It's taken a lot of courage and a lot of money and a lot of love for this building to exist today. Every single kind of service, including respite care, daytime care, classes, swimming, you name it, Shalva is unbelievable. However, one of the things they have very special, not however, but great, is that they have a cafeteria run by special needs people. And it's an open cafeteria for anyone to go there and to have lunch, to have supper, and to go there for a coffee. And believe it or not, the community, many, many members of the Jerusalem community in general, likes to go to Shalva because it's a feeling of, you feel good. The food is delicious, by the way. And everyone who's serving you is someone with a special need who deserves to have a job, who deserves to be able to do these things. And by going there and showing them support, it just is such a special, special way of, in your own little way, including special needs community. And anyone else who knows of someone who has a business, these people are always looking to be included in jobs. There are many counselors, job training, job development. If you know someone that has a store that needs to be stocked, many, many special needs people are capable of doing that. My grandson Zev, I have a grandson who is autistic. He goes to a local store in Teaneck, and he packs bags in Grandin, Essex, in the supermarket, one of the kosher supermarkets here. Also, a lot of people know Zev, but it's such a, he feels good. He's doing something. In Trader Joe's in our community, in the Trader Joe's, there is a boy who is totally on staff there, very high functioning, special needs, and he works there at least 3-4 times a week. And it gives me such pleasure to walk in there because he loves his job. And the funny thing is, I was there one day, and for those of you who don't know, Trader Joe's is a well-accepted kind of gourmet-ish supermarket here. And one of the things that they sell is bamba with their own brand name, Trader Joe's bamba. Bamba is an Israeli food that every Jewish child from the time that they're 3 months old grows up on in Israel. And Trader Joe's has bamba with their own name, which they get from the bamba company in Israel. And one day I was standing in Trader Joe's and one of the staff came over running to this man who works there to ask him, where's the bamba? I can't find the bamba. And he knows exactly where everything is. And it makes him feel so good that he's able to do these things. And it's imperative that people include people with special needs as much as possible in the community as part of an education for the rest of the community and as part of an education for us to teach our children, to teach our friends, to teach our grandparents, to teach whoever it is, because we did have a generation that was totally afraid of getting involved with anyone with special needs. And it's a different world today. It's a completely different world. So I don't know where I'm up to in terms of time, Stu, okay? But I would just like to tell you that if anyone ever wants to speak to me, for one thing, about how to go about being more accepting of the situation one's in, it's a challenge to have a child with special needs. It's a challenge. It's not easy. But number one, father and mother have to be on the same page completely about everything. I'm very blessed. I had the world's best husband, and every single thing that we did was together. All decisions about Nama were together. We didn't listen to any miracle cures. We didn't go running. Every time someone told us there's a doctor who was probably a quack in some place. We went with our feelings, with our heart, with our intelligence. And it was us together in every single decision that we made with Nama. Without my husband, never, ever, ever would I have been able to live this situation. I have to say, interestingly, maybe I'll just share this with you. As most of you know, I lost my Mordechai 2 years ago. And we did not know I shouldn't say that. I felt very strongly. When he died, it was sort of unexpected that he died. When he died, we knew he was very sick. And I was very determined that no one tell Nama except me. When my Mordechai walked into Maison Shalom, he was everyone's tati. Everybody knew him. He was everybody's father in that home. And he was very much a part of most of the children in Maison Shalom's lives. And the staff adored him. And so I decided, and I begged the staff at Maison Shalom, who were mourning with me, that they should not tell Nama. That I would come and I would tell her. And they, of course, listened to me. And the day after I got up from sitting Shiva, I flew to Montreal. And I went to see Nama. And I told her. And my kids all were very curious as to how she was going to react. We all weren't sure. Was she going to be sad? Was she going to point on her board to Mommy, now could you take me to second cup? We didn't know exactly how she would react. So I went into her room. She was waiting for me. And she has pictures in her room. When she moved into Maison Shalom, everything went with her in terms of familiarity. And I told her, I said, the first thing she said to me when I walked into the room was, Mommy, where's Tati? And I said, Nama, that's why I'm here. I came to tell you something very, very sad. I said, you know how Grandma and Grandpa are in Shemayim now. They're in heaven. Well, Tati, you know Tati was sick because we had told her. I said, well, Tati's in Shemayim now with Grandma and Grandpa. And she started to cry vehemently. And it was so normal. it was so what should have happened. And it showed me how much she really does understand, which sometimes we think people don't understand because of the fact that they look a certain way. She was totally, totally devastated. Many times after that, I would come back. The first thing to say is, Mommy, where Tati? And I'd say, Mommy, you know where he is. And she'd go like this. He's in heaven. And I'm watching her watching me right now. And that's what it's like to have a special needs child. That's what it's like to be totally, totally grateful to an organization that was started by a group of women who did not have special needs children, who came across this idea together with me and went with it and worked on it, worked with it like crazy until it actually happened. Never, ever will I be able to express enough gratitude to them. And every parent in Maison Shalom, I'm sure, would feel the same way. There are now 2 Maison Shaloms, by the way. The second one is on, the first one's on Carlton, and the second one is on another street, which I will think of in a few minutes. But it's just amazing how these children have blended into a family wonderfully. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else I really wanted to tell you, but I think that's the most important thing. I just wanted to give, of course, the message. My most important message is that people should treat those with special needs as the individuals that they are, with love, with compassion, with understanding, and not be afraid of them. The Adath has done that. I remember when I went on this campaign to try to get buildings in the city, such as the Y, to become adaptable. One shul did put in, they did put in stairs, but once you reach the second level, you could go nowhere. So, you know, it's not enough to just do something to look like you're doing something. I have a poem that I read usually when I have spoken about Nama. I didn't write it, although when I was looking through my notes from speaking in the past, I have to tell you that I have written many poems, which I found in my file. But this one was, I don't even know because it says the author's unknown. But I really like it, and I'm very happy after to please ask me anything you like. I hope this answered some of your questions, or at least educated you a little bit on the need for the special needs community. So it's called Heaven's Very Special Child. Some of you may have heard it. A meeting was held quite far from earth. It's time again for another birth. Said the angels to the Lord above, this special child will need much love. Her progress may seem very slow, accomplishments she may not show, and she'll require extra care from the folks she meets way down there. She may not run or laugh or play. Her thoughts may seem quite far away. In many ways, she won't adapt, and she'll be known as handicapped. So let's be careful where she's sent. We want her life to be content. Please, Lord, find parents who will do a special job for you. They will not realize right away the leading role they're asked to play. But with this child sent from above comes stronger faith and richer love. And soon they'll know the privilege given in caring for this gift from heaven. Their precious charge, so meek and mild, is heaven's very special child. So anything I can answer, one thing I neglected to mention was the amazing siblings that Nama has and what this has done to our family in terms of them being involved in special needs communities. And and my grandchildren who love to take turns on Auntie Nama's wheelchair. That was a big deal to come and take a turn on Auntie Nama's wheelchair. They are all special because of the fact that Nama was their sister. Okay.
Thank you so much. Can I just say there was one of our viewers just wanted to remind us that the second house of Maison Shalom is on Kent Avenue.
Thank you. I would have thought of it eventually. I'm sure that
That's right. I'm sure, like as soon as you...
right. I'm sure it was either Dina or one, whatever, but thank you for that. You know, it's so funny.
So if there are any...
Roseanne, was that you? Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, good. Hi, Roseanne. I've had dogs for many years, and whenever I passed my neighbors who had a child with special needs, it's amazing how much, I mean, all kids respond to animals, you know, unless they have this like
except
really
for my daughter Dina, who runs the other way, but go okay. Go
right
ahead.
You know, there's always, you know, the odd ones, but like I would get such and I still do get such pleasure when my animals just, you know, doesn't matter what you are on the outside, but you know, it's the heart on the inside. That's so
definitely. And we do have actually dogs to come visit Maison Shalom. We have dogs to come into the home, pets to come into the home, and they love it. They all love it.
I see a raised hand here.
Hi, it's Toby Ben Lolo.
Hi,
I'm
Toby.
sorry. Hi, Nina. Like since the day I met you, you've always been an inspiration, and I'm involved with so many organizations because I've seen what you've done and your children and everything. So I just want to say, kol hakavod, because
Toby.
you and your
you
husband.
too. You know, I love you and I love your family, and I'll never forget, Toby, when your son came by himself to the Shiva without even really knowing us, a young boy. Okay, I was so impressed.
It was very important to us. Like everyone knows about the relationship, and we've always, you know, very high respect for you.
Love to marry you.
One thing, thank you. One thing you forgot to mention, and something that was really very appreciated in Montreal, is you led the Yachad group. Yes. And it was a social recreational group, and it was amazing. It was like, we really, really missed it once. Of course, it was too much.
It doesn't exist anymore in Montreal, correct?
No, it doesn't. And if somebody could have restarted that, like from the New York group, and get a local chapter here. I know they have it in Toronto.
I
will
definitely, you know what, Toby, I will definitely work on that. For those that don't know what Yachad is a group that is a youth group, sort of a part of the NCSY movement, which is the National Conference of Synagogue Youth from the OU. And Yachad is their special needs division. And I ran Yachad in Montreal for about 15 years, which we had programming, which Yachad, which means together, was always with regular high school students together with special needs students. Mm-hmm. And we had programming all the time. We went to Shabbatons, we took them different places, and it was very, very special. And I can't even tell you, Toby, what phenomenal things they do now. I mean,
I'm still a little bit into it, because my sister, who's special needs, does go into the summer camp, which doesn't exist here for adults, which the opportunities that they have and the feelingness of loneliness, which is what you touched on, is such a big overwhelming. It's very, very overwhelming. It just hurts my heart to see that.
What about Israel for Josh?
They haven't had one. Right now he goes to Hask, so I really enjoy that.
There is a program. There is a program. They have. First of all, they're totally inclusive programming all over the place, but they have a trip called Yad B'Yad, which takes special needs people to Israel together with the most amazing kids. And Nama, who in my life I never dreamt could go to Israel. Okay, I mean, they literally sent a staff member to Montreal, to Maison Shalom, to see if they felt that they could accommodate her, because when they told me, I thought they were nuts, okay?
Right.
And Nama was on a camel. I mean, the things that I think that they did with her, it was beyond believable. So anybody who knows of a special needs person who has if they're interested, Yachad in New York, or contact me, I will put you in touch, has unbelievable programming for special needs people. And we should get it started again in Montreal. You're right. I'm going to speak to them.
Yeah. I know I actually traveled to New York to just be part of a lot of their Shabbatons and things like that.
I remember.
It's great. And I would encourage, if there are other people on this group right now listening to you, that if they do have a special needs, they should definitely sign up and just keep to be aware of it.
And
Yeah.
Toby, the next time you visit your cousin, you better come over to my house.
Yeah. Well, actually, you were saying that you're having trouble to bring over Nama. So if I can help you, I would.
Okay,
We'll
Toby,
speak.
you're going to hear from me very soon.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Toby.
very much. It's wonderful. It was such a wonderful presentation. You spoke so much from the heart. When did you move to New Jersey?
I didn't hear the question. What's the question? When did I move to New Jersey?
Yeah.
We moved to New Jersey 12 years ago. My
Oh,
children started really nudging us. Okay. Do you know children are good at that? So our children started nudging us. My husband had some health issues. He was teaching in college, he did many things, and he felt that he wasn't the same. And my children started nudging us. We have to move back to the States to be closer to them. So I have to tell you that if anyone asks me where I'm from to this day, I say I'm from Montreal, because Montreal's my home. And yes, I live in New Jersey, but there's nothing like, I hope you realize this, many of you, Montreal is a special place. It's a very, very special place. And we are very fortunate, those of us who live there, or who live there, for being there. Because I see here, I mean, it's very different for me. I'm always from Montreal. And when I went to the supermarket, one of the first times I went to the supermarket when I was living here, I said to the girl at the cashier, I said, gee, I really like your eyes or your necklace or something. She said, are you from out of town? And I said, yes, why? She said, because nobody here would say that to me. So that's what happens when you come from an out of town city. You're just much more friendly. And that's missing here. So
Where-
I'm still from Montreal, Irene, even though I moved 12 years ago. I'm still from Montreal.
Where in New Jersey? Near Lakewood? No.
No, I live in Bergenfield, New Jersey, which is right near Teaneck, but I actually have 3 grandchildren living in Lakewood.
I just wanted, can I just bring to everybody's attention that Nina's address is in the chat, her email address. So if you want to discuss anything with her, please do so. And I would like to read some of the comments. Stephanie Lehrer says, hi, Nina. We love Nama and we love you. I just wanted to let you know that Nama has taught me more than anything about quality of life than I could ever teach her.
Beautiful. Stephanie is one of our loving caregivers at Maison Shalom, who now is on maternity leave. Because the only time they're allowed to leave Maison Shalom is when they're on maternity leave.
Wow.
Okay, go ahead.
Wow. From the president of Adath Israel, Peter Safran, there are no words to express the gratitude for what you have done for the community and each of us by sharing your story. And
Thank you, Peter.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, I have to second that. Brian says, thank you so much for this wonderful and inspiring webinar.
Who is that, Brian?
There's Brian, but no last name.
Okay.
But thank you. I just wanted to mention before I read, there's another message here, that the programs for special needs children and adults are thriving at the Y. They're
Are
they're
they?
going to the pool, they're using the facilities, and
Great.
Very well used, very well used.
Another thing, if I just may say, you know, when anyone knows of a a function that's going on in the city, in their synagogue, in their school, these kids love to go to basketball games. Don't hesitate to invite them. We will deal with the transport at Maison Shalom, and think about them. If your shul is having a program, invite them. If it's, I mean, I'm not talking about a lecture on, you know, neurophysical, whatever. But if you're having a program, if you're having a musical, if you're having anything like that, entertainment, they just need to be with people. They just want to be recognized as people, just like everyone else. So it really, really, that is one of the most important things that can come away from this. I always wish, like whenever I hear about something going on, if Sadie Bronfman, many times, even since I've moved, I've written to them and said, we have people to bring our residents. That's not the issue, you know? The issue is not where they will sit. They always find a place to sit in their wheelchairs. That's not an issue. But it's just a matter of acceptance. And they won't disturb anyone and they won't bother anyone, but they'll feel like a part of the group. It reminds me of a story that when my children were little, so I got tickets to take them to the Ice Capades or Disney on Ice or one of those things at the Molson Center. And because we had Nama, we literally sat on the ice. And we had like these amazing seats, only because we had Nama, because that's where they place a wheelchair. So people came to me who was sitting many, many rows behind us, and they said, wow, how did you get these seats? You must have bought them a long time ago. And I said, actually, no, I didn't, but it's because of Nama. And I explained to my kids how lucky they are to have Nama as a sister. We get to sit on the ice. So they know that there are perks, like parking, are perks to having a special needs sister.
I'm sure there are, that's only a few of many.
Definitely, definitely.
Brenda Sokoloff writes, Nina, you were awesome as always. Thank you for all you have done to help me along my special needs journey. Love, Brenda.
Brenda's a good friend.
And from Elaine, hi Nina, it's Elaine Lazarus, was Adams. I wanted to say hello and how pleased I've been to see you again and to hear your amazing story. And I too will always be a Montrealer. I remember Nama as a baby when I spent a yontiv with you and Mordechai.
There are many people that did that. You know, it's sometimes embarrassing when I meet them and I have no idea who they are, but I do know Elaine. So
I'm good. There's one more person that has their hand up, and then we're going to ask Rabbi Whitman to close.
sure.
So somebody that calls themselves Mom's Phone.
Mom's phone.
Mom's Phone. Who's Mom? She's got her hand up. No? Okay, well.
We just lost Mama's phone.
Just lost Mom's phone.
Not one of my children commented. That's really interesting. Few. Okay. And not one of my grandchildren commented. Few. So, and I hope, Nama, I hope you like this. Are you there, Nama? I see you. I don't know if she's there. She's there. Okay. Yes, Nama.
Hi, Nama.
Oh, no crying, Naminas.
Yes. What'd you think, Nams? Did I pass? Yes. I told everybody it's going to be your birthday, Nama. Everybody knows it's going to be your birthday in a few weeks in March, okay? Yes, Nams.
Blow her a kiss,
You can
Naminas.
turn her off. You can turn her off.
Happy birthday. Happy
Hi,
birthday.
Nama.
This was a very amazing talk. Thank you so much. And I'm going to pass the microphone to Rabbi Whitman.
Bonnie, thank you very much. Nina, wow. Let me just start to speak personally. Nina, the friendship that you and Mordechai have been so generous with us, with Marcy and me and my family, has made a real difference in our lives since we came here. the opportunity that I had to work together with Mordechai, and the fact that the four of us were able to spend so much time together. It really it made a difference in our lives, and we will always appreciate it. And we always look forward to seeing you. And of course, you always have a room here at our home whenever you come.
Thank you. The blue sheets are still there.
But they're clean.
Okay.
They're clean. Nina said something in commenting over what's happened over the last several decades, that today it's a different world. We have this amazing organization, Maison Shalom. We have buildings that, yes, we have a long way to go, but buildings that have started to make themselves more accessible. We have programs like JDAIM and other organizations and efforts. Yes, there's a long way to go. But as Nina said, it is a different world than it was 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. The reason it's a different world is because of Nina and others like her. It didn't happen by itself. It does not happen by itself. And Nina, what you have done and continue to do has changed Montreal for the better. The impact of your efforts and Mordechai's together, that impact is deep and it's lasting. On behalf of Adath, really on behalf of the entire community, we are grateful to you. Thank you so much for sharing this tonight. And most of all, thank you for being our friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you both. You know that. And thank you so much. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, so thank you, Bonnie, and thank you, Marcy, for starting the program. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. There's a lot of other things going on at Adath. We hope to see you again soon. Have a very good night. Bye.